Why the rich hid in this hotel during global chaos. When the world began to fracture, they did not flee to bunkers. They booked rooms, and they vanished behind ordinary doors. To understand why the wealthy chose a hotel during moments of global instability, we have to revisit a time when chaos became unpredictable. Markets swung wildly. Borders tightened without warning. Information moved faster than truth. And visibility became a risk no amount of money could offset. This hotel did not advertise safety. It offered continuity. Located far from political centers yet deeply connected to them, it functioned as a pressure valve. Flights still arrived. Services remained unchanged. Inside its walls, routine replaced panic. Meals were served on time. Hallways stayed quiet. Staff behaved as if nothing outside mattered. The reveal began as a pattern. Private jets landing quietly. Extended stays booked under shell names. Entire families arriving without announcements. What drew them here was not luxury alone. It was predictability. While the world argued and reacted, this hotel refused to acknowledge the chaos. News was absent from common areas. Screens showed landscapes instead of headlines. Conversations stayed personal, not political. The environment insulated guests from the emotional contagion spreading everywhere else. At first, guests told themselves they were only staying briefly, just until things stabilized, just until clarity returned. But clarity never came, and the hotel remained. What began as shelter was becoming something else. A pause, a holding pattern. And in that stillness, new dynamics quietly formed. As days turned into weeks, the hotel's role shifted from refuge to ecosystem. Guests settled into routines that felt almost defiant. Morning walks followed familiar paths. Meals were taken at the same tables. Staff greeted everyone with the same calm cadence, regardless of what was happening beyond the walls. The reveal deepened through contrast. Outside, uncertainty accelerated. Inside, time felt buffered. Guests began measuring safety not by information, but by atmosphere. If the hotel remained unchanged, then the world could not be entirely broken. The wealthy understood something instinctively. Panic is contagious. So is calm. This hotel curated the latter with precision. No urgent tones. No visible security escalations. Even precautions were discreet. Reinforced systems were hidden behind art and design. Protection never announced itself. Guests began crossing paths more often, not as strangers, but as cohabitants of the same suspended reality. Conversations avoided headlines. They focused on logistics, family, long-term plans. Trust formed quietly. Shared uncertainty bonded people faster than shared success ever could. The hotel's management faced increasing pressure. Requests grew unusual. Longer stays. Entire floors reserved indefinitely. Private arrangements negotiated in hushed tones. The line between hospitality and stewardship blurred. This was no longer a business cycle. It was an extended moment. But tension lived beneath the calm. The longer guests stayed, the harder departure felt. Leaving meant re-entering volatility. The buildup intensified as external conditions worsened. Flights canceled. Markets froze. Rules changed overnight. Inside the hotel, routine continued. And that contrast became both comfort and trap. The question was no longer why they hid here. It was how long they could afford to stay invisible. The conflict surfaced when safety began to resemble detachment. What had started as protection slowly became separation. Inside the hotel, guests were informed just enough to function, but not enough to feel overwhelmed. News arrived filtered and delayed. The outside world felt distant, almost theoretical. For some, this distance was relief. For others, it bred unease. The wealthy are accustomed to control. Chaos challenges that instinct. This hotel restored it, but at a cost. As weeks passed, decisions were postponed. Businesses operated remotely, imperfectly. Families delayed returns. Commitments softened. The buildup intensified as guests realized something uncomfortable. By hiding here, they were not just avoiding danger. They were avoiding responsibility. Some guests began arguing quietly, not with staff, with themselves. How long is protection justified? When does waiting become withdrawal? At what point does insulation turn into isolation? The hotel absorbed these tensions silently. It continued to offer structure, but structure without resolution creates pressure. A divide formed among guests, those who planned to remain until certainty returned, and those who sensed certainty might never come. The emotional peak approached when a pivotal moment arrived, an opportunity, a decision that could not be delayed without consequence. For the first time since arriving, guests were forced to look beyond the walls. The calm no longer felt neutral. It felt heavy. The hotel had done its job too well. It had made chaos survivable. Now it had to confront what came next. The climax arrived not as a crisis, but as a choice. One by one, guests realized the hotel could no longer decide for them. Safety had been provided. Time had been granted. Now intention was required. Some guests chose to stay. They accepted prolonged distance as the price of stability. They built new routines inside the walls, adapting to a smaller world. Others packed quietly. No announcements, no ceremonies, just departures that felt heavier than arrivals ever had. The turning point was internal. The hotel had not failed. It had succeeded too completely. It proved that chaos could be muted, that fear could be softened, that the world could be paused, at least temporarily. But it also revealed a deeper truth. Protection is only meaningful when it leads somewhere. Otherwise, it becomes a form of hiding. As guests left, the calm remained. The staff returned rooms to readiness. The hallways stayed quiet. The hotel reset, waiting for the next fracture in the world. The resolution was not relief. It was clarity. This place changed how the wealthy think about safety, not as armor, but as space to choose. Today, similar hotels are designed with the same promise: discretion, predictability, insulation from panic. Yet the lesson endures, no matter how secure the refuge. Eventually, everyone must decide when to step back into uncertainty. The hotel also revealed something about the nature of wealth itself that rarely surfaces in calmer times. Money can delay consequence, but it cannot eliminate it. The wealthy guests who stayed longest were not those with the most to lose. They were those most accustomed to solving problems by controlling environments. And the chaos outside was an environment they could not control. Staying inside was, in part, a refusal to admit that limit. The hotel accommodated that refusal graciously. It never named it, but the staff understood. They had seen it before. Powerful people, encountering a situation where power offered no leverage, choosing proximity to comfort over engagement with difficulty. That choice is human, not exclusive to wealth. But wealth makes the choice more available. And availability, in moments of fear, becomes temptation. What the hotel ultimately provided was not just safety. It was a mirror held at a comfortable distance. Guests could see themselves choosing comfort over engagement. Without having to confront the choice directly, the walls made it possible. The departure made it necessary. And the moment between those two things, the moment of recognizing what the stay had actually been, was where the real value of the refuge lay. Not in the rooms, in the clarity that leaving them eventually required. So what do you think? Are we repeating the same mistake again? That clarity does not erase the time spent hiding, but it changes its meaning. A pause, honestly recognized as a pause, becomes useful. It restores capacity. It clarifies priorities. It creates the conditions for better decisions on the other side. A pause mistaken for a solution becomes something else. A retreat that extends until the world demands re-entry. The difference lies entirely in intention. And intention, in comfortable surroundings, is easy to defer. The hotel understood this. Its most quietly effective service was not the filtered news or the curated calm. It was a gentle resistance, built into its rhythms, against staying longer than was useful. The staff knew how to slow arrivals and gently ease departures. They had learned, across many seasons of global instability, that the guests who left well were the ones who had been reminded, softly, that leaving was always the goal. Comfort was the means. Return was the purpose. That distinction, simple and unspoken, was what separated this hotel from a hiding place, and it was the only thing that made its calm, in the end, worth having. Why the